Doctor, look.
Stand aside, nurse. I'm Dr. Homebrew.
Stand clear.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thanks a lot for coming back for another episode of Dr. Homebrew. We are back again with Dimitri, and if you don't know who Dimitri is, you've missed a show, and you should go back to the last show and listen to him. And instead of the Amber Ale, today we have a porter from him. So I'm excited about that. We're going to try that because I love a porter. That's my first love. Stouts, porters, but I cut my teeth on stouts, and I was like, porters, I think a little, they jive a little more with me. It's not as... at least back in the day, here we go again, Dimitri. Back in the day, stouts were like kind of more acidic. Yeah, they were like more ashy because they had that black patent in there or whatever. And people wised up and cut that shit out. But porters I loved because it was like that. You still got that nice hit of malt, and it was easier drinking, and it's still just complex enough to be, cool. So I'm excited to drink this. And then we're going to talk a little more about non-alcoholic beers because I think I have found my favorite non-alcoholic beer. I think I've figured it out finally. So we're going to talk about that. And I do have some athletic as well. We can kind of, compare and contrast and, it'll be fun. Why not? What are we going to do? What's that?
That one to run wild?
Upside Dawn. Because you can buy 12 packs at Target, which is where I am. I'm fancy like that. I'm shopping for beer at Target. What are you going to do? You know what I mean? Anyway, Dimitri, thanks for hanging on, everybody. Thanks for hanging on, Dimitri. I just cracked your porter. I got no hiss. There's no foam. So I'm a little interested in that.
Uh-oh.
Well, it's a good thing. Weren't you saying in the last show that you were teaching him how to bottle?
Yeah.
It did come out. There's a little carbonation, so that's good.
Listen to me. Here, let me listen to his. A little hiss.
All right.
But I recapped it. This was the recapped one.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Actually, when I first opened it, it had a nice hiss. So yeah,
nice. It was decent.
Yeah. Don't trust my bottling method.
Dimitri, what are you on about with porters? Now, where are you? Are you again? Are you just kind of going through the styles? You brewing it because it's fun, or do you like a good porter?
Exactly. I was like, what the hell's a porter? I mean, can somebody tell me what the difference between stout and porter is? And then I just keep getting mixed answers, and
what is it? What do you think?
I'm still confused.
What do you think it is? What have you
it's
landed
just a less
on?
roasty stout. A less roasty stout.
Yeah, with I think a little less gravity. I tend to agree. Yeah, Cooper.
Yeah, well, I think that. So yeah, porters were kind of always the working man's beer back in the day. Most beers were. Brown early on, darker, and it's just the color they were. But I think of porters as, definitely lighter, less roasty, less rich. But wasn't there something called a stout porter? Like it was like they back in the day. I didn't live in the early 1900s or whatever.
Yeah.
A lot closer than Dimitri.
Mid,
but. Yeah, from what I understand, they didn't have a big difference between them either back then. It was just like a stout porter was like just a little stronger version of one, and they might have had to put more roast in it too to balance out the alcohol that was in it.
Yeah, I could definitely see like any slight change in a recipe needs to have a different name.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that just from like a weird marketing branding kind of thing where it's like we need, how do we differentiate each other? Oh, I'll make instead of 5%, it's 5.5%. Now it's a stout because it's a stouter bit.
The history and the guidelines says the style evolved from London porters, but Irish stout that is. So the Irish took the London porters, made it fuller, creamier, gave it a more stout body and strength.
Typical Irish thing to do. Guinness
began brewing only porters, and in 1799, and a stouter kind of porter around 1810. So it diverged from that style in the late 1800s and used more emphasis on darker malts and roast barley. Guinness started using flaked barley, but that didn't happen until after World War II. So this is like fairly recent in beer history. Like we're living when, IPAs proliferated, everything went crazy on that front. Like, our grandfathers lived during the time when this was happening. It's not that long ago. But yeah, so Guinness Draft was launched in 1959, not
That's
long
cool.
after, my dad was like 10 or whatever. So yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Neat. Okay, well, there you go.
That's
Case
the
closed,
difference
Dimitri.
ish.
You figured it out.
But yeah, there's not much difference. Stouts and porters are kind of a similar thing. And there are definitely some crossover where you can have a beer that meets some of the parameters of both. Might not be the best stout, might not be the best porter, but kind of meets in the middle where it's like, yeah, it could go either way.
Yeah, and I think that there's a lot of porters that are stouts and porters that are lighter. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like, again, I think a porter is a hard style to land. It is more feeling. Yes. It's vibes. We make beer with vibes.
It's vibes. Yeah.
It really is, because like the porters definitely, they hit a middle ground, and like you can go one way or the other, and it's not what it is. It changes. Yeah. So it's definitely a complicated thing to do. But Cooper, you want to start us off and hit this up?
Who knows what they all tasted like back in the 1800s? They were all a little sour, a little smoky, probably.
Smoky. Well, yeah, that's we were talking with Matthias from Schlinkerla, where he was like, yeah, basically all malts, all beers were smoked because they fired the malt over wood.
That's how you
made. Yeah, it's just what it is, man. And they were cloudy and tangy and not probably very good.
You wanted to drink them fresh.
Yeah.
And I heard that's why like the original like Steins, where you couldn't see the beer because it was kind of ugly. I don't know if that had to do with anything.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah. We get so snobby as beer judges. I must drink my beer out of a clear glass.
Mm-hmm. That's what we were talking about in the last show, or like you sort of diverge into this, like you're that guy that everyone makes fun of. But now it's so.
I told my friends like,
go ahead. No, go ahead. You're good.
I told my friends, damn, I don't remember the last time I drank beer out of a bottle. I know. We're kind of like used to just pouring it in glass.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
It's kind of nostalgic to drink it out of a bottle. It's like its own experience.
Yeah,
it is just the way you hold it. It's very much like ripping ciggies, like smoking cigarettes. It's like if you ever smoked and then you stop, you kind of get nostalgic for like, it's not that I want to smoke, but it's I want to hold something like that.
For vibes.
Yeah, it's for vibes, man. Yeah, look, sometimes you got to go back to your roots and just, shotgun a natty light,
But then I'm the guy that will go to the bar, like you order the $7 or $8 beer and it's a nice beer. And they just hand you the can or the bottle. And it's like, I want to be able to smell this beer. So like, could you give me a glass? Cause I need,
I'm not
getting a glass.
That's all right, man.
I paid $8 for all these hops in this beer, Anyway.
Catch me never doing that, by the way.
No.
$8 for a beer. Hell no.
Okay. The beer had a nice hit spun opening, like I said, appropriate fill level. We judge this as a 20A American porter. It has a rich roasty quality up front in the nose, coffee, dark chocolate like, but not ashy in the nose. It has a touch of fruity ester noted alongside. No DMS or diacetyl, no obvious oxidation. It seems pretty clean. The hops are very low, little earthy, citrusy note. So it's a little rich overall for sure. And the appearance-wise, it's quite dark brown, almost black. It seems clear at the corners. You can just barely see through the very bottom edges of the glass, and when you tilt it, has a collar, a low tan head that faded fairly quickly, ending in a collar of fine bubbles. And the flavor, this thing is richly roasty. It's bordering on stout-like, if not into stout-like. Medium-high bitter aspect, but not from hops. It's a malt component instead. Balance definitely to the malt. Has a clean ale fermentation, which is nice. The finish is quite dry. That also lets that the more roasted flavors kind of stick on your tongue and shine through and stay late into the late aftertaste in the late palate. I'd say it stops short of like burnt, but it's still a bit too roasty and acidic for what I want in a 20A American Porter. That roast just lingers really strongly into the aftertaste. Mouthfeel wise, it's a medium bodied beer with medium low carbonation. I'm not getting any warmth really. It's not creamy. I think that's partly just because of all the dark malt in there. It's I feel like it gives it a slight astringency from the husky, the burnt dark grains. Give an edge that feels a little puckering or a little like tea like or grape skin like in the feel from the dark malt husks. But otherwise it is somewhat smooth in a way too. It's not too biting or harsh. I wouldn't really call it harsh. It's actually just a little more intense than I expect in a porter for the mouthfeel and the flavor. But overall, this is a well-brewed American Porter. Just leans a little bit too strongly to the stout-like side of things. Probably enter this as a stout. I don't know that it would do, like an American stout, but I don't know that would do great there either. The dryness is nice. It's well attenuated and fairly well crafted. The clean fermentation is nice. And in some ways the balance works in that it's just a lot of roast, no hops, very dry, lingers on the palate. I just want to say it doesn't, it's a very, very, very robust porter. They used to call American Porter like robust porter with the style in the old guidelines. That's what the American one was called. The beer tastes fairly fresh.
That's right.
And it's not quite all the way to just stout, but I don't know. It's a little off style for sure. I still put it in the very good category just because there's a lot of things to like about it. So I landed at a 35. That was fair to Midland, but
I'll take it.
If you just fix those little things, it's clean otherwise, and just dial back the darkest malts, bring those back a substantial amount, and get the balance right for a porter. It's a really enjoyable beer. And some of them do get pretty gnarly like that. Like especially some of the old craft brewed, microbrewed ones would be a little more rich like that, especially when they're fresh. So I don't know. Maybe I should have gone a little lower, but
maybe.
I mean, do you think you could like skip out on the roasted barley edition, like as a whole?
I would. Well, yeah, we can talk about your recipe, but yeah, if you used roasted barley in this, you might want to just take that out.
Yeah, that's
or just use
that's where I was confused.
That's what I was saying. Where porters are weird and they're hard animal to wrangle because you go too hard and you're more in the stout category, and you go too low and you're sort of in this dark, weird nexus where it doesn't really whatever. I do like this beer a lot as a porter fan myself. I enjoy it. I do think it's a little light in the body and heavy in the specialty malts. Now porters can be, and that's fine. Right. I just want a little bit. Maybe it's like a dryness thing because it is very dry. And I think Cooper, you were saying something about astringency, and so maybe that's sort of like drying everything up in my mouth. But it is very heavy on the specialties. I would pull back on those. There is that roast quality that I don't think belongs in here. I know it doesn't belong, and I'm just going to say it. But I like the sort of chocolate malt flavors that you have in there. I think that's very good. I think it's a very good, like thread through the whole beer. You hit it on the front palate first, and it carries through for the aftertaste. After everything's sort of changing in your mouth, that's the one kind of middle ground that I have in my mouth still. And I really enjoy that. I think it's a good, I don't want to call it a gimmick, but it's a good selling point, or it's a good thing to, I want more of that continuation. Right. So I think it's very good. But yeah, I think there's just some specialty malts, and I think maybe going back to the amber ale too, That's the hard part about learning how to homebrew and make your own recipes. I'm assuming you made this recipe your own. Is controlling and being restrained on that crystal malt side. Because even now, I've been brewing since 97. I still want to maybe I should just put this in a little bit. Just add, I go to the homebrew shop and I'm making a recipe and I see a malt. And I go, oh, that would be good in here, dude. Maybe I'll do. I still want to do that. And that's the art side of the brewing that we were talking about, right? It's like, I want to experiment with the stuff. I want the flavors. I want all the things. But if you want to brew to the styles, you got to learn the differences. And this is a good way to do it. Just brewing all the styles.
Yeah.
Let's brew the thing.
Yeah.
I do get a little hotness. It's a little hot sitting here in the throat, but it's also been, warm for an hour. So who knows?
I could see that.
But I as a porter, I would give it like a 34. I think it's a very good beer. I think if we were one of those assholes at a bar, I would taste this. Like, yeah, it's not really a porter, but it's not a stout either. I don't know what it is, but I like it.
There's something
people say like style purgatory.
That's a good term. I like
definitely something a little licorice like as you get into the aftertaste.
Ooh, licorice like. Wow.
Yeah, black licorice.
Okay.
And at a porter, you want to get those the dark malt flavors from a chocolate malt or black malt. And usually they're not going to use roasted barley if that did go in there. So
that might have been the chocolate rye. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Chocolate rye.
Chocolate rye is a fun malt flavor.
Let's do the recipe. Let's get the recipe.
Okay. Maybe that's what the spiciness is kind of tricky, like into a.
So
the
the inspiration was basically, what the hell is a porter? Can somebody please tell me? And it was kind of like a leftover, like kind of like kitchen sink. I think that's the term, where I just kind of just threw in like whatever I had. So the base, this high colored pale malt, so 64% pale malt.
Let me interrupt you real fast. I need to say two things. I'm interrupting. Number one, that'd be a great name for this beer. What the hell is a porter? Can someone please tell me? That's the name of this beer. Number two, you know what it tastes like, Cooper? It tastes like a black IPA without all the hops.
Oh yeah.
I'm just getting it. Like I'm thinking this. I'm thinking I just had a back in black for Greek Easter on Sunday because that's me, and that's the flashbacks that I'm getting. It tastes like a black IPA with just not as much of the kind of like resiny hops going through it. Anyway, sorry. Repeat the recipe, please. I had to interrupt you.
Should I just do like percentages?
Yeah, sure, man. Who cares?
Yeah. So 65% pale malt, 12% Victory, about 10% light Munich, about 5% chocolate rye, 4% Carafa 2, 2% pale wheat, and then it's that roasted barley with that 1.2% roasted barley. I don't know. It was weird in the style. Like it said, there's should be a little roast, and then I asked like a handful of people, should I add this? Some people are like, yeah. Some people are like, no. And then I guess I just threw it in.
I think
for the vibes.
You always never go against the vibes, honestly. So if you did that, if you vibed out, then that's good. I say black roasted barley, take it or leave it. Black patent for me is where I draw the fucking line. Like that's what I don't like. So even in my stouts, I'll leave it out and I try to supplement with something else, which is why I don't really score high in stouts, but I don't care. I'm making it for myself. So I think that's fine. I like the chocolate rye, but I wonder if the chocolate rye and the black roasted barley are sort of going boop, 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 against each other. I wonder if you pull back the black roasted barley or like Cooper was saying, leave it out.
I don't know. Roasted barley.
Yeah. I like the chocolate rye.
Crazy like how, yeah. It's crazy like how, just little amounts of these specialty malts can really make an impact. Even if it's like well below even 5%, well below like 3%. Yeah.
They're highly kilned. And
then I bittered with Magnum and then Chinook for like late hops. Yeah.
I think it's cool. I don't think a lot of people use chocolate rye. That would be one of those malts that I'm like, oh, maybe I should use that. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to, I made a Janet's Brown with chocolate rye instead of the chocolate malt. And it was kind of fun because it had a little twist to it. Yeah, and I shared some at a really homebrew con, what they used to call NHC long ago. I shared some with Tasty, and Mitch Steele from Stone was there.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was. Why did you use chocolate rye? It's okay, but
Because it was there. I don't know.
It's what I had. I got
Yeah.
a bag of it. Yeah, I was experimenting because
Yeah.
it was the vibes. Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, I was really vibing. Like the first time I had the chocolate rye was in I was over in Paso Robles, and I got to try the Wookie Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Black
Yeah,
IPA.
Firestone. Yeah,
That was fun. Super fun.
Yeah, that's a good beer,
great,
man.
great beer. Yeah.
Yeah.
This reminds me a little bit of that. No, that's a black IPA. That's like kind of along those lines.
Yeah,
But
I like it, and I wonder if like the kind of roastiness, maybe the spiciness from the rye, which I'm not even really sold on that happens, but I wonder if that's like sort of replicating some of those hops. So it maybe feels like a lighter black IPA or whatever. But yeah, I liked it. I think it was great. What yeast did you use for this?
I'm glad you asked.
Thanks.
I was pretty lazy with this brew too. I kind of just threw it on the yeast cake of the cream ale that you just had, Brian.
Okay.
So USO5.
It was clean and enough to get it going good.
I mean, that's exactly what you would do, you know?
So going to Brian Shar's scores that he passed to me the night we judged these. So I gave this one a 35, and he had given it a 31. And his comment was far too roasty for porter, almost burned / ashy. So
yeah, valid.
That was his comment on that.
It's valid.
They're both mid 30s. No obvious flaws or issues really.
Yeah,
just a little off balance or off style stuff a bit. You know, like you were saying on the earlier show, it's like sometimes just using a simpler recipe is better from a perspective of knowing what you have to control and just changing one thing at a time instead of. I have trouble with kitchen sink beers too, and I want to throw in a little bit of everything sometimes, and it doesn't always help me.
It rarely does. It rarely will help you. Absolutely.
Muddles things, you know.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah, I think this recipe was like the epitome of vibes. It's like, oh yeah, this sounds good. I think this will contribute this, and that's the whole like artistic thing you were just talking about.
Yeah, well, and
so about brewing.
How far off the mark do you think you were with what you thought would happen versus what did happen? Like when you're building it, you go, oh yeah, I think this will contribute this or whatever. But now that you tasted it, what have you learned? What have you learned from this experience?
Yeah, definitely. Like when I tasted that roast, I was like, okay, I know this is gonna bug some people. But I like it. I think it's pretty drinkable, and I like the creaminess that it has.
Yeah, it's super drinkable. Yeah. It is definitely not undrinkable. And you know, like we were saying about how far down the kind of beer snob road do you go? That's the trick when you're judging, right? Especially doing on this show where it's like, well, we're not. Yeah, it's how hard are you going to be on a beer or not? I think is ultimately what it is for judging or doing this or just feedback in general. I think the beer is super drinkable. Is it a porter? Yeah, by name. Could it be better according to style? Sure, of course. Everything can. Is it better? Does better make it better for you? More drinkable? Maybe not. I don't know. It's one of those things, man.
So I'm digging into his 18B American Pale Ale now too, and just sipping a little bit of that. There's something interesting in the nose, and at first I was mixing it in the cup that had the stout or the porter. Sorry,
that's always it's always a good combo. Pale and porter.
Get that out of there. But I was like, there's something a little odd in here. It's almost like an oniony quality from the hops that I'm getting. It's so.
What do you think it is?
Did you use like
it's
Columbus or Columbus, ETZ, Columbus hops?
No, yeah. So I did I wanted to do like
4 ounces of
study
shallots.
Too, so yeah, shallots. No, it's Mosaic.
Oh, okay. Well, that's one of my favorites.
This kind of it taught me a lot. This beer. I brought it to my my meeting I think last month. And I put like notes of like onion and like armpit because that's what it smelled like. But You know, I think as it's been sitting in the keg, that's kind of sort of like off gassed, which kind of like reveals like that goodness from Mosaic.
Sometimes, garlic, onion can be reasonable when mixed with other like citrusy, resiny qualities, or
Yeah.
a little more firm bitterness. Sometimes it can just be like, oh, this is a dank beer. So, it like comes across like that. Yeah. This one is a little onion and a little in the background, like some grassiness. An interesting beer for sure.
Nice. Sounds good.
Yeah.
But it's, the body is right. The color is right for American Pale Ale. It's not, there's no malts getting in the way of the hops too much, but it's just not quite hoppy enough, I don't think, for the style, but pretty smooly drinkable otherwise. So nice beer.
Sounds great.
And, then there was a sour you said you wanted me to try too. Is that there's one that says
hopefully it doesn't blow up.
34B29A. I don't know what that.
Yeah, if it's ticking.
I advise you to be a little careful.
Okay.
Yeah, you got 1 minute, Cooper, and we're gonna take a break.
Okay. I'm just gonna go for it.
Yeah, do it, baby.
I think it might.
Oh, just a light little.
Oh.
Okay.
There you go. You got it. I love the appreciate the keys jangling right into the microphone. That felt good.
No problem. Yeah. let me do that some more.
Smart.
Yeah, please do.
Ooh, this has got some color. Oh, okay. So you said this was a kettle sour?
Yep.
It's a nice pink color with a pink head. Kind of a ruby red body and a little haze, a fairly moderate haze to it. Mm-hmm. But it's got a fairly bright tartness to it. It's not subtle at all, but it's not overpoweringly sour either. Comes across a little fruity and like herbal tea like, or like fruit tea kind of thing. Is there fruit in the beer? Is there a raspberry or something here?
Yeah, mixed berries. So like raspberry,
okay,
blueberry.
Yeah, it's got a very nice like berry like essence to it. That's mixing nicely with the kettle sour. It doesn't have too much of any of the real weird things that you sometimes get in those rushed kettle sours. And you said you did this 90 something degrees for a couple days, or what was your kettle sour process there?
Yeah, to sour it, I pitched Good Billy like 90 Fahrenheit for 48 hours.
Cool. That does the trick. And did you monitor the pH, or do you not have that?
Yeah, it hit like 3.4, 3.5.
Did you acidify first to get it to like 4 and then go from there, or did you just go all the way with the bugs?
Yeah, I
like
put a little bit of lactic just to help it out.
Yeah, it helps. Yeah, get it that that acidic base to start, but not have it all be from that. So yeah, that's a very common way to do it. So yeah, it sounds like you know what you're doing with this. This is a very approachable beer. Like if you had somebody here, I don't like beer. Oh, we'll try this one. It's just like
that was the that was the inspiration.
Oh, I only like seltzers. So yeah, do you have a berry seltzer? Oh, well, actually, here, try this. It's a berry kettle sour.
Oh yeah.
Well, it sounds good. I'll have what she's having.
All right. I think my minute's up. So
your minute's up. Yeah, for sure. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and talk some non-alcoholic beers. But Dimitri, thanks, man. I appreciate you hanging in there and sending us some beers. It was a good time. Let us know when you want to come back, man. Please.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Once you get your exam score back, we'll need to hear.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, not before, please. We want to know who we're talking to. All right, everyone, hang on. It's Dr. Homebrew. Sure. We'll be right back.
What's up, homebrewers? Hey, let me ask you a question. You spend a lot of time making your beer taste the way you want it to, right? Some of you even send beers into Dr. Homebrew for feedback. Well, the next logical step in your creativity is to craft some labels for those beers. And there's nobody better at creative labels than Grog Tag. Their easy-to-use designs let you turn out some pretty amazing stuff like labels, bottle caps, coasters, even six-pack carriers with minimal effort on your part. They have a range of label sizes that fit any vessel you can think of. Bottles, cans, growlers, kegs. Grog Tag has you covered. Head over to grogtag.com today and check out their line of amazing, fully customizable templates and get your beer looking its best. Grog tags are water resistant, reusable, and will have your naked bottles looking great in no time. That's grogtag.com, and be sure to use code BNARMY at checkout to save 10% on your order.
Hello, fellow BNers. This is Sully from the 21st Amendment Brewery located in San Francisco, just 2 blocks from Giants Park. Before Nico and I opened the 21A and before I was a professional brewer, I homebrewed on my small 4-burner apartment stove in a back house in Santa Monica, California, making my extract brews before graduating to the daunting idea of all-grain brewing. Homebrew books and information was hard to come by back then. The internet hadn't been invented yet, along with other things we take for granted today, like electricity and potable water. One thing I wish I had back then when I was learning was a radio show that could teach me the ins and outs of brewing and answer questions that I had about homebrewing, a resource for making great craft beer. The 21st Amendment Brewery is excited to be a proud sponsor of Dr. Homebrew, a great show that teaches you what you need to know about making incredible beer. Good stuff. Listen up, you might learn something. I certainly did. And thanks for your support. Tasty Crack Games.
Now, back to the examination.
All right, thanks for hanging around, everybody. We are talking non-alcoholic beers, which, of course, you know, is my favorite topic right now. I love them. I can't stand how much I love them. I don't know why. I just do.
Yeah. Hunting for the perfect NA beer.
Yeah, and you know what? We've said early on in the show, like NA beers, you can't really judge them as beers because they're not beers. But sort of are, but not really. Like you're never going to be, this tastes exactly like a beer. It's not going to happen. So once you're okay with that, I think it opens up your world a little bit. So as you know, I've been really digging on Athletic. I think they are sort of like the best at the NA space. They do, not all their beers are great, but most of them are pretty solid. And you can have one of these and go, yeah, this tastes really close to a beer. It's the closest thing you're going to, really find, because it's a very hard process to do. But when we had Vito on from More Beer a couple shows ago, I don't know how many shows ago it was now, he was saying that Sierra Nevada has invested a bunch of money into producing non-alcoholic beers, and they're getting into that space. And I was really excited about it. So the other day I was at Target of all places, and I found a 6-pack of their IPA. It's called Trail. What's it called? Trail Pass, or what the hell is it called? Trail Pass is the brand name, I guess.
Trail Pass IPA.
And it was pretty good. It didn't blow me away, but I was like, oh, this is really neat. And I texted Byron, and I was like, my buddy who works here, I was like, yeah, dude, I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys do else, because it's pretty good for what it is. But then I had the beer we're going to talk about today. I found not at Target, called Trail Pass Golden, and I'll hold that up here on the camera.
So this one's the IPA. I've got the green one. Yeah,
you got the green one. I didn't mind it. The golden, I think, is bless you, is pretty.
Yeah, I'm a ventrilo sneezer.
Yeah, I think the golden ale is pretty much right there in that sweet spot of excellent non-alcoholic beer, like excellent beer that tastes like beer. So I'm really very excited about it. So I wanted to talk about it, and I actually have a side-by-side between the Athletic Golden, which is the Upside Dawn, and the Trail Pass Golden, so that we could talk about it a little bit, talk about some flavors, and just kind of see what the difference is and how these two brewing companies are addressing this kind of growing trend here.
I just cracked my very first Trail Pass Golden NA.
Had you never had it before?
I've never had it before.
Oh, okay.
I bought my first 6-pack today.
I'm interested. So holding up side by side, this one, the kind of cloudier one, is the Athletic, and the clear one is the Trail Pass, which I don't really pour the Athletic in glasses, so I don't know if this is normal or not. I don't think it affects the flavor. But the Sierra Nevada, I think, sort of true to brand form, their lighter beers have a little bit of, like, probably crystal coloring, a little honey malt. It's like a little, not honey malt, but a honey straw color. whereas the Athletic is more, light blonde, I suppose. The Athletic doesn't really have a whole lot of hop nose to speak of. It's definitely there. Trail Pass to me has like a creamier smell. That makes any sense? Beer can smell creamy. Coop.
Like it smells like a cream ale to you, or it smells like
like creaminess, like a cream ale.
Okay, yeah, I could see that.
And then the flavor to me is night and day. They are very different beers. The Athletic is it's bitter. There's a sharpness to it. There's a drop off. There's a palate cleansing bitterness there. But the Trail Pass for me is more of what I think of a golden ale as. Smooth, kind of creamy, almost like a cream ale, but not really. Not very hop forward. Smells good, tastes good, goes down easy, and then kind of like that's it.
Well, are you talking like a British golden ale, or what kind of a golden ale?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever had a British golden ale. For me, a golden ale is like almost like yes, like a blonde. Absolutely, yeah. Like I would even go so far as to say like the early sort of blondes or like 2000s, early 2000s, where I was like, maybe this is a little too honey malt or a little too, not that this has honey malt in it, but it's that those blonde ales used to be kind of creamy, and I feel like everything is dried out recently. Yeah. Right. So this seems a little more old school in that regard, where there's more texture to it. Yes.
Some body to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it dries off on the tongue, and it does have, I drink a fair amount of the Sierra Nevada. I'm sorry, the Heineken 00, and that's got its character. It tastes a lot like Heineken, like an international pale lager, and it's almost spot on for that style. It's got a little edge of sweetness. This is more like dry and almost seltzery in a way. And it's got more bitterness and more hop, definitely, than the Heineken, if I'm thinking of a comparison to that.
Yeah.
And it's got a mineral quality to it also that seems to accent the bitterness in a good way, not like harsh, but just enough to make it have an edge.
Yeah.
Which is something that's kind of nice. It's not like a pale ale kind of bitterness, but it's just enough, like a blonde ale bitterness, to just have enough balance your malt that's there, but give it a little edge to let other things play off of, and very dry. So, the flavors, if there were any off flavors in this, they wouldn't have anywhere to hide, because it's so dry and light that it would overpower. But obviously they know how to brew a clean beer and then turn it into a non-alcoholic. So yeah, this is a really fun beer.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. And I think the difference between this and the Athletic Golden is that the Athletic always seemed, but keep in mind, it up until this point is my favorite beer, right? My favorite non-alcoholic beer, but it was getting, or one of them, it was getting kind of harsh. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things you kind of have to overlook, where you're like, I know this doesn't, it's like a shirt that doesn't fit right, but you really like it. You're like, okay, it's a little tight, but I enjoy wearing this. I'm going to wear it. It's still really good. But the Sierra Nevada one, the Trail Pass Golden, is just different. It's more rounded and it's softer in ways that it's softer in a flavor, but that minerality comes through. It's done a little bit better. It's a little bit different. And I was telling Byron, like, you could even pass this off as a fucking cream ale. I think it has a creaminess to it that I appreciate, like a old classic American Pilsner or something like that.
Some of these, it seems like a little. They're using some tricks in there that I don't know, exactly how they're getting it dialed in to get it that low in alcohol and still have it taste substantially like a beer. But that bitter edge with the mineral and just the light amount of hop that comes through, a little floral citrus hop in the nose. It's like, this is a beer, and then behind that is some malt, but it's not overpowering, and the hops aren't IPA level. So it's just, it's there for a real smooth summer drinker, I would say.
Absolutely.
In the warmer months, this is going to be a fun one to sip.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't put out like the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, like NA version yet. Maybe they are working on that.
Ooh, do you think they would? I would imagine they wouldn't. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, because if you have a brand as well known as Guinness and Heineken doing that.
Yeah.
They only have, see, that's the thing. They don't only have the one thing, but like Guinness Draft Stout in cans, non-alcoholic version. I guess I could see a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, non-alcoholic version. I wonder how that would taste. Because I feel like with all those hops, I don't know. Super curious. I'm super curious about what they're coming up with. I know they're doing like a hazy IPA. I don't know if it's out or not.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
but,
right now they're showing. Oh, there is a Trail Pass Hazy IPA.
Okay, all right,
that's coming out. So we'll have to get that one on next. But yeah, it's showing. Oh, they've got several. There's a Brewvesa.
What?
So like a Brewvesa, they're calling it Trail Pass
Brewvesa. What is
like
that?
A Cerveza, probably like a Mexican lager.
Oh yeah, okay, all right.
And a Trail Pass Hazy IPA, and they've got a variety pack coming out too. So yeah, they're really branching out in that realm, and I can see they've spent a fair amount of money on the system. So they're branching out. And they've also got their hop splash varieties. There's a citrus hop splash and the regular hop splash.
I think a variety that would be the first non-alcoholic variety pack I've ever seen, and I bet it would do fucking killing because variety packs are still they're the best way for breweries to be selling beer. Is variety packs. Talk to Sully about that. Like that's all he talks about. It's like variety packs are like that's what people do.
Yeah, it's got the
I think it'd make a killing.
The IPA, the hazy, and the Brewvesa. That's interesting. Maybe we'll see that.
Oh, that'd be great.
Golden. Yeah.
Oh man, we're gonna stretch this thing out forever. But yeah, anyway, I'm glad you picked some up. I want to talk about it because it's super interesting in the space, and I love what non-alcoholic is doing. And
I've been buying. Yeah,
I knew that Sierra Nevada would do it, and it was interesting. Because I texted you and Char the picture, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I like that one." It's like you've seen this.
Yeah,
it's new to me.
The Trail Pass IPA I saw first, and since I like IPAs, I bought some of that, and it was pretty fresh, and it did have a nice flavor. But any of these, as they age, the hops are gonna die back, and if we find one that's been sitting on the shelf for 6 months to 8 months, it's not gonna taste as fresh as a nice.
Yeah,
it's like. Yeah.
Do you think it's even more sensitive to date coding than like quote unquote regular beer?
On some of the sub brands, I would say for sure, but with Sierra Nevada, I'm sure they control the oxygen and everything else so carefully that it probably is less of a factor. But I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just from like the hop perspective and stuff like that, and there's no alcohol, so I wonder the shelf stability if it's like still a 6 month. Thing. Yeah, Sierra Nevada is definitely very, very big on quality control and controlling everything up to delivery. But at that point, it's out of your hands, right? So it's out of their hands.
The Golden is probably going to hold up better than the IPA on a shelf for 6 months because it doesn't have as much hop that it has to hold up, and it's not going to get super stale. The hops aren't going to be old tasting, and so as much. It's just going to be there. But the Heineken 00s, those can age for a pretty long time.
Yeah. Let's start aging some. We'll do
they hold up pretty
library
aged
tasting. Yeah, and me, I don't like IPAs really, and I saw that the Trail Pass IPA and I had to get it because the way I look at it is I want to encourage these companies to keep doing this kind of stuff. So I'll try it. Even though I was like, I'm not really a big fan of IPAs, so I still bought some. My wife liked it a lot more than I did. But I thought it was still fine. For me, it tasted more like a West Coast pale, where it's like lighter. There's I felt like no crystal, maybe a little bit overly bitter. But I don't know. I felt like the bitterness in the body didn't match for me.
Right. Well, for me, the NA IPA from Lagunitas, this fills a space that wasn't filling for me because you get that, and that one has more of a rich maltiness to it, not super rich, but it's more of a reddish, reddish.
It's been a while. Yeah. I can't remember necessarily, but yeah.
And it's got a fair amount of hop, but it's that doesn't have the same. I think they're working with the minerals in a way in this and accenting the hop bitterness, and there's the hop aroma is there on top of that, and it's playing more like I expect, kind of from a classic IPA perspective.
Yeah,
beer to be in the fresh, a little fresher hop aroma. But yeah, both of them have their own pluses and minuses, and some of the athletic stuff is great when it's fresh. Doesn't age well, but yeah, neither does any really.
Yeah, no, athletic IPA is top notch. It's definitely not a knock on them. But Trail Pass Golden is sort of my new go-to. I don't know. I like it a lot. It's very good.
Well, yeah, I'm excited to try their hazy and the other one too. So
yeah, even me too. Let's take a quick break and we'll come right back and wrap up. So hang on, everyone. It's Dr. Homebrew. We'll be right back.
The leader in affordable, high-quality kegerators is here. Introducing Komos, the kegerator designed with serious beer drinkers in mind. It features an all-stainless steel draft tower, a major upgrade over traditional chrome-plated brass towers, and Komos keeps your new tower cold with their air-cooled tower fan, wrapping your beer lines in frigid coolness. Your beer is poured from innovative forward-sealing faucets that don't leak, so they stay cleaner for longer. Dual gas inlets on the rear of the fridge allow you to run both CO2 and nitrogen gas. Serve your beer with CO2, serve your kegged wine or even cocktails with nitrogen. The digital temperature display has the largest range available, allowing you to use the Komos kegerator for fermentation if you need to. And now Komos kegerators ship with duo-tight draft fittings for that click-to-connect assembly we've all dreamed of. Buy direct from KomosDraft.com and receive free shipping on your order. That's KOMOS Draft.com.
Dr. Homebrew, please report to the ER for code blue. Dr. Homebrew to the ER, please. No, and your tea time has been moved to 2:30.
All right, thanks for sticking around. We're going to wrap things up here. I appreciate you guys hanging on. Thanks to Dimitri for coming on and talking to us about his beers and his journey from neophyte to homebrewer, which I don't know if that's an upgrade or a downgrade, but
in a fairly short time,
he's doing
from homebrewer to becoming a beer judge too. So,
yeah, absolutely. Cool. What a sucker that guy is, right? If you want to get on the show, if you want to show us how big of a sucker you have, wait, what? Email Brian at thebrewingnetwork.com and we'll get you on the show. I can't make a promise that Brian Shar will or not be here, but we'll try either way. And it's just scheduling conflicts. We couldn't make it work, and all that kind of stuff. But
Can you do his laugh at least?
I can't. I don't have it. But if you are listening live for some reason, we are going to. Excuse me. This is kind of like a makeup show from last week, so we are going to have another episode, couple episodes in a couple of weeks, I believe. It's all California Common, right? Is that what that is?
Yeah, Cal Commons from the Inland Empire Brewers. Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun project for sure.
Yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be a good time. Anyway, until then, everyone, we'll see you later.